operating a turbine.
Right, hello everybody. First time we've done a video. Izzy's doing the recording over there. We've had it 10 years now, from a wreck bought back from a firing range in Belgium, 2 wrecks bought back from a firing range in Belgium, to what we've got today. Now, I haven't worked on it every year. I've not worked on it many months of many years, so it could have been done a lot quicker than this, but that's where it stands today. We'll take you on a little tour. So I thought we'd start at the front. You've got a standard Fordson 7V rear axle, which is turned upside down and mounted on the front. I'll just go in to show you that. There's a torque tube inside. There you go, see it coming through between the tillers, under the gear stick, and then it's located at the back there. Then there's a short prop shaft that runs up to the gearbox. You know, incredible that all that survived all those years on the firing range. Absolutely, completely original. It's even got the original bearings in it, that torque tube. Yeah, so we're down here on this front axle. This front axle actually came from a scrapyard in Norway. Way before the time of this project. It was imported into the UK in the 80s by Bob Grundy for a project he had in mind. It didn't get used, and then I managed to buy it off him. It was covered in vines as thick as your thumb. It had been sitting unloved for a long time under a lean-to, but everything was okay in it. Still got the original bearings in it. The diff was like new, but no, it's done pretty well. This has. It's all been refurbished. You can see here, just temporarily, I've got the original piece of bolt-on Loyd armour. Again, it's pretty holy. That's from the firing range. Still got some original colour on it. I'll probably use that as is. I think it would still mount. So yeah, so up to this point we've got the front lower hull plate finished. Behind here you can't see that. We can look down here at these track supports that we've got. So these are all off the firing range. You can see they're pretty gnarled up. I've tried to keep them as original as possible. Now those were added by Loyd to stop the track rolling off. The track's also supported by this flange on the brake drums. One thing to note is the brake drums are bespoke. They're only fitted to Loyd's. They're not the same as a Brengun Carrier, universal Carrier. Right, you can see from this long shot, hopefully, we've got 4 sprockets. The ones on the front axle, they're the driving sprockets, and then you've got idler sprockets on these at the back. Now they also act as the track tensioners. The track tensioner supports the little stub axles that they mount on. They can pivot and be adjusted here. So you wind them all the way in, you set your track up, and then you tighten that bolt, or tighten that nut rather, and then you can bring this rearwards. I'll see if it will come. There we go. So you can bring that rearwards to put your track tension on. Right, we'll just look at brake cables here. I've had all these remade from the originals off the firing range. I'm sure all damaged. These are all the original back plates and mechanism and the shoes inside. And all that is a Bowden cable that goes through the engine and gearbox area floor plate. It's got anchor points in here. Then if you look through, the cable just comes through onto these steering arms. So they've got a pivot here. They control that. We've just seen that pulls on a rear brake. This one here pulls on a front brake. It goes through a little protective cover and out to the front brakes. And then you'll also note on here we've got 2 elongated clevises. Now which one's which? One of those goes to a tiller and the other one goes to the handbrake. So when you pull the handbrake on, because they're elongated, it can override the tillers and put the handbrake on. So if I just pull that tiller, if we look back there we go, and you can see obviously the one close to the centre line is the handbrake. So we're overriding that by pulling the tiller. we go. I'll just jump in and then I can show you the controls here. It's not the most easiest thing to get into, although easier than a lot, I suppose. Right, if I ask the camera lady to come in. Right, so we're sitting in the driver's seat now. Everyone knows Loyd steer with tillers, pretty traditional, although very rudimentary. So you've got left pulls on the left side brakes, right pulls on the right side brakes, and they both use to pull the vehicle up. You got a regular clutch pedal on the left there, which is all rod controlled back to the cross shaft in the gearbox. There we go, that's a spring return on it. Then on the right there's the throttle pedal, and there's a little heel plate there to keep your foot in the right place. That's got spring return on it. So again, that's rods. They're not all completely in here yet, but they go all the way back to the carburetor on the flathead. Then between your legs here you've got your gear stick and transfer rod that goes to the back and connects to the gearbox. And then there's a little lift up latch here, which uses a little bicycle style miniature Bowden cable to lift up the detent in there, so you can go into reverse. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how you drive this. I don't quite know. As long as you don't have to change gear when you're steering, we should be alright. So if we go and look on the dashboard for what it is, the left hand one with nothing on is the fuse box. Right hand side is speedo, and then this is a late model dashboard, which it would have been in this one. You've got the control for ignition and then for the lights, and that's your ignition light as well there. Starter button. Interestingly, the starter button's the same part number as the one used in E-Type Jaguars after the war. CAV ammeter and Lucas oil pressure gauge, and in here you'd have your choke cable, and just at the right in those two holes you've got power sockets, positive and negative, for an inspection lamp, and that's about it really. There would be underneath, where you can see that row of holes, it's in the garage, there's a glove box for the sake of a better word, just a general box to throw whatever you want in. And that's about it for controls. There's not much. Oh, right, hang on. There's a handbrake as well, just under here. I'll pull that on, and that holds in place. If we stand up and have a quick look at this, we can see the handbrake mechanism. There we go, down here. That's in place there. So that pulls these rods in and pulls these levers, which in turn pulls all the brakes on in one go. And even if you try and make a change here with a tiller, you can see it just uses the elongated slot to take up the movement, so they don't actually do anything. And I can put that back down, and then we're back to the tillers operating the brakes then. Right, we'll just nip down and look at the wheels here. You've got 4 bogey units on the Loyd. They're basically the front bogey unit from a Universal Carrier, so there's 4 of those on it. This being a 44 vehicle and British, it's got fabricated bogies, which I believe they all went over to then, unlike Canadian ones and T16s etc, which they all stayed on cast bogies. But the bodies of these are all fabricated, apart from the one that isn't. Yeah, so pretty much standard fare in terms of bogies, wheels, etc. This is a body support. On the early Loyds, they found out that the bodies used to flex, so they added these extra supports in, which when the body's complete, they bolt onto a piece of angle just to support the body. Now we'll go around to the back. Right, the last little bit here, probably the most important part of the Loyd by this time of the war, is your tow system. Tow spring, pretty standard, and a tow hook, a tie bar here on the top to hold all the assembly together. Now, like I said, by this time of the war, Loyds were just being used. They'd found a role, because when they bought them out, they didn't really know what they were going to do with them. But by 42, 43, and then the mass production 43, 44, they were basically tow vehicles. They either towed the 6-pounder anti-tank gun or the 4.2 inch mortar trailer, of which there's one in the garage. We can see that later. So yeah, that's the Loyd Carrier really. It's getting there. It will be complete sometime.